And now, FAIRFAX Breakfast Club with your host, Basil Lemba.
Welcome to the FAIRFAX Breakfast Club show. My name is Basil Lemba and I will be your host. The FAIRFAX Breakfast Club is a weekly program in which we bring you valuable and workable know-how you can use to improve your networking skills and grow your business. We always start the show with a quote. Today's quote is in alignment with our networking principle number 5. Consistency is the key. The key is consistency. Courage could be summed up in 1, being willing to cause something, and 2, going ahead to achieve the effect one has postulated against any and all odds. There doesn't happen to be a thing such as failure. There just doesn't happen to be any such a thing. But of course, you'll want to agree there is such a thing as failure, so you have a reason to fail. And so you won't have to be caused. That's another thing. But there isn't any reason to fail and run about. Well, today with us on the show, we have somebody who have shown quite a great amount of courage, I would say. Her name is Sophia Nawab. Sophia, hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Well, I must admit that is the first time that I wound up on the stage with a pigeon. But make no mistake, she's good at business. So, Sophia, tell us who you are and what you do in your program.
Well, I represent Mrs. Capitol Hill 2003 for the Mrs. DC of America pageant.
Okay.
And it is a competition of young, intelligent, married women. And we all have families and we have platforms and we work and we represent a positive influence in the community, and we want to bring change and really represent married women everywhere.
Okay, good. Now tell us, how did that all start? Do you know?
I do. It was just maybe a year ago when I was coercing my husband to write out goals for the new 2012 year, and I really wanted to enhance my life. I wanted to get out of a rut. I wanted to bring a positive change to my relationship, but most importantly, change myself. I wanted to lose weight. I wanted to start a charity. I wanted to pay it forward. I feel very blessed having such a great job in this economy. And after a few days, something came around, and one website after another website, and I came across pageants. I said, I wonder if they have pageants for married women. And one thing led to another, and I found they do have pageants for married women. And I contacted a coach, and the rest is history. I've been able to make positive changes and start a charity and meet amazing women along this journey.
Okay. So now tell us, what do you guys do then? What is your platform? What are your intentions and goals?
Well, the platform that I have is veteran unemployment. So I started a charity.
That's for you personally?
This is my personal platform.
Each pageant has their own personal?
The Mrs. DC organization supports breast cancer. Okay. But each pageant contestant has their own platform that they drive towards. So there's some people that drive towards, heart health, healthy living. I personally have a community platform of veteran unemployment.
Gotcha.
So I started a charity, Operation IT, and it combats veteran unemployment with IT skills. So I've created an IT program, creating 5 of them in order to get veterans jobs quicker. But what I'm really honing in on is the job experience, because a lot of veterans, they're amazing in their military, and when they transition, they have incredibly awesome work skills. They just need to be able to translate it into the civilian workforce. They're disciplined, they're punctual, they're hardworking, they learned well, they learned fast, they pay attention to orders, and they have initiative. And that's what everybody wants as an employee. So we help them modify their resumes, we give them very easy to understand training classes, and we get them into the job. My goal is to get them to the job within 8 to 12 weeks. Okay. And we're working with local IT companies in Maryland, Virginia, and DC in order to try to work with them to get, if they were to take this course and they have this work experience, would you be able to hire them with a decent salary of this and this?
What does the course do?
The course, well, there's 5 courses. Right now, I'm creating a course, that'll be my first pilot course, is software testing. So I give them 4 weeks of software testing IT skills. They get a background knowledge of software development and what a software tester does. And then they get a week of work experience. How is it working in this waterfall environment, in this type of environment? How do they actually learn and understand all the aspects of being this type of person, as if they had already done this job for a year or 2. So they get all that 1 or 2 years experience in 6 weeks. And I think that's the key to this. That's the key for veterans to get jobs, is we need to get them to have work experience. So they can...
Let me understand. So you create a program that helps them in 6 weeks to learn a job that somebody does in 2 years?
Yes.
How is that possible? How does that work?
From my experience, I've learned that learning by doing is much better than learning by listening. Sure. People can be in college for 4 years.
Oh, we know that.
And it's very difficult to still apply those concepts without doing it. So one of my teaching methods is, personally, I learn by teaching. And I also learn by doing. So what I do is each day, every 30 minutes or 45 minutes of my class, I make my students do that exercise. So I can teach them the software development lifecycle, but they have to be able to teach it to their partner or their class, or they have to be able to create a presentation. And they learn it like that. Okay. Instead of spending 2-3 months on it, how do we learn our job? We learn by doing.
No,
and if we don't know how to do something, we have to figure it out the hard way. And so that's my kind of key to the class success. If I ask them to create a test case, just how somebody were to test an application, I explain it to them very quickly, and they say, okay, now you do it. And then they might get scared, but I'm there to support them, to help them, guide them through that step. Sure. So then they do it in class, and they go home, they do it. And then by the end of the day, they've learned 2-3 new concepts, and they're learning at a very quick pace. Okay. And people are very smart. They can pick this up with the right keys.
Okay. Now, what is the success rate once they go through the program? They find a job, not that it depends on you necessarily, but do they find a job rapidly?
Well, again, we're still in the main, right now we're developing the course. I've hired an event planner to try to help me. I intend on having an event late February, early March. We're trying to acquire, the place to have the event. We just want to bring the knowledge about that we have this type of charity going on. We do need help. We need to be able to bring together IT companies and companies that want to hire veterans. There's a lot of companies that want to hire veterans, but they need to have skills. They need to have job experience and certifications. So right now we're still in that planning process. Okay. So.
I gotcha. So can you tell us the different area you prepare them then into?
Yeah, so the first 3 to 4 weeks right now is going to be IT skills, and how to act in the job with these type of IT skills. Give them that on-the-job experience. If you were to be in this situation, this is what would happen. In this situation, this is what would happen.
Give me a good example.
A good example is
real, so that the audience over here can better understand.
For example, my first test is software testing. Other courses that I'm going to design is help desk support, becoming a programming or developer, also doing cybersecurity. But software testing is what I'm really good at. So that's, of course, what I started first. So when you develop a software program, you have to test it. So I said, you have to be able to understand the requirements document developing the software. So what I made them do is create a requirements document, even though they're not an analyst. They don't need to know that. I said, if you can create it, then you can read it. So when they're becoming a tester, I said, now you have to create all this documentation. If you can create it, then you can do it. And I give it to them so that they're able to do these things. What took me 12, 14 months to learn, they learned in 2 days. Because I'm giving them the examples, the templates. This is what it should look like. Now you see it, now you try it.
That's quite unbelievable, isn't it?
It is amazing. I think people are very quick to learn, and especially if they have initiative. And I think that you find, especially veterans, but most people, when they want something bad enough, they'll do anything to learn it. And if you give them something, they don't have to be in a class for 4, 6, 12 years, 4 years. I said 6 weeks. If you can give me 6 weeks of your time, about 10 hours a week, I said I can help you learn this concept, give you the skills you need for the interview, help you update your resume, translate those veteran skills into civilian skills, and I believe that you have a very competent IT worker. I think our obstacle is getting buy-in from other IT organizations and other companies to hire them. So that's what we're trying to bridge the gap up right now.
Why hire them?
Well, I think it's going to be an obstacle, a challenge for them to say, for me to tell them, look, this course is equivalent to 1 or 2 years job experience. And they might say, baloney.
Well, why do you have to tell them that? Why don't you just put together a certification that shows what they learn?
Well, I hope to do that, but I believe I need some assistance, for example, the Veteran Affairs or the Department of Veteran Education, so that they can endorse my course. I want to show that to them and say, I want to get their buy-in. You know, I don't want to do anything. I need to get certainly other organizations to look at this and to approve it that this is good enough for their veterans. Once I have their endorsement or their approval, I think we'll have a much more success rate and success factor in order to bring this course out of the shadows and into real life and to get it going.
How much it takes, how easy it is to get? Is that something you can easily get? Or
the certification?
Is there a procedure you have to go to get that certification or what have you?
The certification for the veteran employment doesn't exist right now. So I'm trying to create something that doesn't exist. So that's why I'm creating the course right now, so I can send them a pilot course. I can send them, these are the students that we have right now. This was their success rate in my class, and these are not veterans. So if this can happen for non-veterans, let's see what we can do with veterans. And maybe they can allow me to do a pilot course. And then we're hoping to be able, once they approve it, get employment agencies to teach this course. I'll teach them, but then they can teach it to their veterans, and we can get them into the jobs much sooner. Veterans.
Well, I went to a conference. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, unemployment agencies have access to hundreds of thousands of unemployed veterans, but also hundreds of thousands of jobs. And so if we can work with just the DC, Maryland, Virginia area at this point, maybe it's a smaller concentrated area, it'd be more likely to get them jobs sooner with a pilot course. That's my goal.
I understand. Well, that's good. I went to a conference last time with the veteran. My goodness. Apparently they are the most unemployed people. The rate was 13% compared to the average rate was lower. It's, I guess, it's a very, very fundamental subject. These are people who send out to war, and then they come back. Now they're trying to get back in the society, and it seems to be a challenge at times, which I understand, and I'm not blaming any particular person to that. But I remember at the conferences, the gentleman was talking about an example of somebody. They had that conference because they're trying to, the military world is not the same as the other world.
Yes.
It is two different worlds, and there is a bridge there that needs to be gapped very rapidly, in a very good way. But it is subtle, because there is this guy who was there. He came to one of those fairs. The fair was done for the veteran, the people who was in the war to come and get a job. And there was a guy that was very disabused, was not even talking to anybody. And the guy who was one of the organizers went to him and asked him, "Oh, so why? I mean, you don't seem interested in anything we're doing over here. We're trying to find jobs for people like you." And said, "Yeah, nothing for me, because you got nothing for me." So, "What do you mean I got nothing for you?" So, "Well, I was a sniper." That was a job. Was in the army, was a sniper, and then now he's going back to the real world. And then I don't think that any private company is hot to hire a sniper. Who are you hiring? Oh, you don't like me, is that what I'm hearing?
You do have situations like that.
No, I'm not even done. Get me right. I mean, the reason I'm saying it's subtle because he now start talking to him and ask him a question, oh, you get trained? Yeah. So what kind of techniques do you have? Yeah, I can calculate angles, I can figure this, I can figure that. He got him to break down the different skills that he had. You get what I'm saying? And from there, they say, oh, well, we have the knowledge, the skills that because becoming a sniper, believe you me, you got to be good. It's not like it's not the easiest job in the world, I can tell you that, and it's definitely much precise. You better be. So after the breakdown, the skills and everything else, they was able to see things that he has that they can put together a package, quote unquote, another way to use a good marketing word, so that they can take him now and bring him to another company. So from a lost, disappointed guy, hopeless and everything else, the guy now was more interested into it and was willing to, apparently, from, if I remember his story well, that guy finally found a job. So I think that there is the way I see it, there is a marketing and public relation major factors that needs to be done. Once they're out of there, take them, change them out, and get them to break down their skills so that they can propose or promote those skills as opposed to I can hit and I never miss.
I do agree that that's a big aspect of the reasons why veterans are unemployed. Now, my first exercise was to be able to just create this course and to get people veterans that have IT skills, jobs first. That was goal number one. But goal number two is certainly what you've mentioned, being able to translate those veteran skills into normal skills, into civilian skills, into job skills. You know, we've already mentioned the characteristics and qualities that our military has, but being able to translate them and then take it to an employment agency and say, with these skills, now, like you said, the sniper has precision, detail, rightness, accuracy, those kinds of things. How can we get them a job now?
Yeah, I think it's true, I say marketing PR, but I think that another thing is even more fundamental, the mindset. The mindset. They have to change the mindset. This is a culture, the Army is a culture, it has its heritage, it has its tradition and what have you. When you get outside of there, you come over here, it's a different culture. Public relations marketing, yes, but also the mindset. I'll give you an example, personal example to me. Somebody that I was working on a project way back, he used to be in one of those, whatever, I won't name them, and his solution, he was so much in the culture he was in. He was into the community, really. It was so much. And then now he comes out and wants the business. His solution is that if something does not work out, he has to use force.
Ooh, I can see that's a little problem.
He has been over there in 20 years. His solution in the business world, civil world, if something does not work out, he uses force. End of story. He doesn't know how to do anything else. That's what I'm saying, the mindset. He bought a business, I think that business has failed. I could see him how he was handling his employee. To him, it was confrontation all the time. If you're standing on the other side, you most likely was an enemy. Doesn't matter who you are. Okay. If you're on this side, then you're on his side. Literally, that's how it was operating. That's what I'm saying, mindset. I cannot say it over and over again, the mindset. If you can help them change the mindset, the rest is going to happen by itself. That person could not possibly be integrated in the society we live today.
Well, maybe that would be a goal 3. You know, once we get out those IT veterans, then we work on the marketing of the veterans, and then goal number 3 will be to help those outliers that need that personality help or to have that mindset
I think it should be number 1.
Number 1? Okay.
It should be number 1. You address the mindset first. At least check it first.
Okay.
Check it first. If it's okay, can good. But if not, you gotta address that. That person was doomed to fail. The ways of handling people, totally, completely doomed to fail.
Yeah, I can see that.
He will never succeed, I can tell you that. Because it was like, I mean, everybody was like, whoa, I ain't dealing with him. Nobody want to deal with him. How could you do business if nobody want to deal with you? You don't belong in the business world.
Well, I have come across in my research with unemployment, there's certainly definitely some categories. There's people that have mindset issues. There's people that have, you know, the stress from being overseas. The people that have started off young and they're now they've done 20, 30 years in the military. How are they going to get a job now? They could have been generals, 5-star generals, and now they have to go into the workforce. There's certainly different kinds of categories. And how are we going to meet their needs? So my goal one was just, if I can work with this small group and succeed, then maybe I can get the Department of Veteran Affairs to approve that, you know, we have something going, we have something special, we have a good team of people that really want to help employ veterans. And if that's being said, then maybe they'll give us a little bit more and a little bit more to be able to help more and more veterans. So I personally I can help somebody get an IT job. But changing personalities, I'm going to need a bigger team for that. Changing mindsets.
Well, you're absolutely right. I imagine that, yes, not everybody was so dramatic that the one I'm talking about, but I'm just saying it was so striking. And also the other guy, the sniper guys, how could you have such an attitude where you go to a fair, you don't have a job, and next thing you know, you're standing in a corner, disabused? Well, that's not the right attitude. The right attitude would be looking for, how can I do, you know what, I'm having trouble with him, help me out, maybe something I'm missing.
Yes.
But the guy was about to leave because there was nothing for him. Well, it doesn't make sense at all in itself. That attitude is off.
Yeah.
You don't have a job, you go to a fair, and you make the decision at the fair that there's no job there for you because of what you were doing before. I respect that, but then what are you going to do? Keep sniping?
Well, that's where I think initiative has a lot to do with it. And I think that once they see that veterans, you know, I think currently the statistics are, the civilian population is like 8 or 9%, whereas veterans is about 13.4%. I think once they see that that veteran unemployment rate is lowering, I think they'll be more positive and more encouraged and have more initiative to want to find that job. I think it's a step-by-step process. You know, just like homelessness is a big issue for veterans, and I think unemployment's a second big issue. And I think you just have to take it one step at a time.
Sure.
Bite that elephant one bite at a time. But I think once it gets better, little by little, you're going to see that this attitude and the initiative is going to change. They're going to feel that there's hope for them when they transition, you know, out of the military into the civilian workforce. Okay.
We happen to have a few minutes left. I know you had the opportunity to stop by our breakfast event. Why don't you tell the audience what you... She had this, by the way, when she came to the breakfast event?
I did. I had it, and I absolutely loved it. I think it was an amazing opportunity to meet people. People are so friendly, and most of all, informative. And such a range of people showed up from, you know, I have another business for software development, and somebody was able to help me connect with government contracts. Somebody else was able to help me provide legal services for my company. I mean, there was virtual assistant services. I mean, there were so many connections that I could make. And then I also said, I also have this charity. They said, okay, I know some people that are working with veterans. And it was amazing, the interactions. And I did love the fact that you didn't talk that much. Not that I don't love talking to you, but you know, you really had a great way for us to sit down and just do the 1 minute. And you know, just keeping us on top and just, you know, when you come, make sure you bring a lot of business cards because a lot of people ran out. Oh my goodness. I was telling my husband, you need to come, you need to be on the other side so we can hit more people. But no, I loved it. I think it's great. And I thank you so much for bringing those opportunities to this area.
My pleasure. Tell us about the expo and the experience at the expo last Friday.
Okay. A funny story.
1 minute.
One funny story is I was telling my family, like, oh, why are you doing this expo? You know, it's probably not going to be anything. You know, you're wasting your time. I was like, no, I'm going to go. I said, you don't know Basil. I was like, when he does something, he doesn't do it a little bit. And I walked in, and we're like, oh my God. We're like, how could you squeeze so many businesses into this area? I said, you needed like, you know, 2, you know, expo centers to house all of us. And I love the fact you had Doc Walker, who was incredibly motivating. You had a great speech. I loved the harpist. But most of all, just the way how you set it up wasn't confining like most expos. I loved your layout because we were really able to move through it quickly, and we were able to communicate with other vendors just as well. Thank you for that as well.
You're welcome. Well, the next one is on May 17th. So we're doing that again.
And we'll be there.
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to seeing you there.
One table for the charity, one table for the business. We're doubling up now.
Now we're talking. We'll give you a discount. Yes, folks, I want to remind you the next breakfast will be on January 24. I'm not sure when you're going to get to see this program, but